Welcome to our daily reflection for this Wednesday, October 16th. And today we have this first reading from Paul in his letter to the Galatians, and he contrasts two things. And there's basically two ways to live. What he calls the works of the flesh, that is living according to flesh. And when Paul uses the word flesh, sarx in the Greek, he means not the body, there's a different term for that, soma, but he means fallen human nature. And its brokenness and its inclination towards sin. And if we live according to our sinful, broken inclination, concupiscence, as it's later called in the tradition, we're going to do all kinds of works. And he lists out those things, and he says, immorality, impurity, licentiousness, idolatry, sorcery, rivalry, jealousy, outbursts of fury, acts of selfishness, dissension, factions, occasions of envy, drinking bouts, orgies, and all the like. And this is, and I warn you, as I did before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of heaven, right? And so we can lose our inheritance. And this is where I told you before, good works means being faithful to the law once we're adopted as God's children. And so there's certain works we cannot do that will exclude us from the inheritance. We don't earn heaven, Paul's saying, but we can lose the inheritance of heaven by doing these works of the flesh. And now, opposite the works of the flesh are the fruits of the Spirit. We need the Holy Spirit. By our own fallen human nature, we're going to do sinful things. But by the works of the Spirit, we can live a divine life. Now, how do we do that? He will give us the secret formula for that, which is rather hard, but it's possible. But what are the fruits of the Spirit? Notice what these are. And you don't find these flourishing in the world, but only amongst those who are children of God, filled with the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is love. It is joy. It is peace. Think about the saints. Patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Right? Now, those who belong to Jesus Christ have crucified the flesh. We need to be cruciform. But how do we live a cruciform life? It's hard. We have to deny ourselves. But that's what Jesus says, deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. If we don't deny ourselves, that is denying the flesh, our sinful inclinations. We can't be Christians, or at least faithful Christians, and we can't inherit heaven, right? How do we live out cruciformity? Only by a life of prayer. And only by prayer that gives us the grace of God, through love, can we die to self and live to others and to God. And that's what Jesus is saying to the Pharisees today in the gospel. He says, look, it's not enough for you to tithe. And some of you are so scrupulous, you tithe mint and cumin and dill. In other words, you tithe out of your herb garden, not just your harvest. Well, don't neglect the weightier matters of the law, which is mercy and justice and the love of God, right? It's not enough to go through some things like tithing and think that you're righteous. Righteousness, the deeper matters of the Torah are love of God and mercy and justice. And he's like, you should, of course, tithe and not overlook the other smaller parts of the law. You should do these as well, but don't neglect the weightier matters of the Torah. And it's about letter and spirit of the law, the letter and the spirit. And sometimes people pit the letter versus the spirit. Well, what matters is the spirit of the law, not doing tithing and things like that. Well, no, that's not Jesus saying. Don't pit the letter versus the spirit. We should do the small aspects of the law, but we should do the weightier aspects of the law, which is love and mercy. And that's what Paul is writing about to the Galatians. We have to live a cruciform life, and Paul gives us a sober reminder of that today. So let's examine our conscience. Are we doing the works of the flesh, or are we bearing the fruits of the Spirit? That is the measure of our Christian life, and if we are on track to inherit heaven, may the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.